What's going on, everyone? Today we wanted to bring you guys our top 10 each of our favorite movies that came to mind recently. We had a really hard time coming up with this list.
As you guys can imagine, this was hard. Your top 10 movies of all time. So yeah, we ended up choosing movies that had a personal impact on us. It's not just about the filming or anything like that. Not so much the acting. I mean, of course that's all part of it because that's why these films had some sort of effect on us.
I don't think you've seen a list like this before.
Here's our top 10.
In no particular order, my first movie is Upgrade. When I saw the trailer to this movie, I knew I was gonna like it. Even with the high expectations going in, I still loved it even more than I expected. It is a revenge movie. This takes place in the future. I highly recommend you checking this one out. Definitely one of my top all-time favorite movies. Watched it several times.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I mean, I own it too. It was one of those movies that was shot for under $4 million that did so well that it went to the theater and they made, 4 times that in the theater. It's a good movie, Upgrade. If you haven't seen it, it's pretty awesome, especially with Elon Musk coming out with these robots or droids or whatever they are. This movie is, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, he's got some brain chips going on.
Oh yeah, some Neuralink or something.
So in this movie, a neural link they call STEM goes on this guy's spine who ends up paralyzed. And from there on out, I'm not going to spoil the rest. You just need to watch it.
Yeah, it's a good movie, but I would just have to stay paralyzed. I wouldn't put that thing in me. Anyways, watch the film. It's really good.
It is available on Netflix last time I checked.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Jaws. Of course, I'm a little older. When I was young and I saw Jaws, man, it affected me to the point where I don't swim in the ocean. I don't go in the ocean. My friends surf. I don't surf. I would skimboard on the side. Like I don't mess with the ocean.
To this day?
Till this day.
To this day.
I mean, I've been on a jet ski in Cabo, but I fell in the water. That's never going to happen again. I found out there's hammerhead sharks down there, like thousands of them when I got back home. I'm terrified of sharks. The older I get, Jaws really had a huge impact on me. I mean, it scared me senseless. And even as an adult, Steven Spielberg, he did that with Jaws. I mean, I can't shake it. So that has to be in my top 10, Jaws.
Yeah, I seen that movie in the early 90s for the first time, and I didn't expect much from it. I felt obligated to watch it since it was such a classic. I actually walked away pretty impressed with what they had then. The shark was an animatronic, I believe.
Yeah, the shark is animatronic. I think they had him on like a roller coaster, like track or something. So like a track, like a dolly track that you would use to film. When I was 6 years old, I went to Universal Studios. I was terrified of Jaws, and they have that ride where the shark comes up next to the
tour bus.
Yeah, next to the bus. And I remember as a kid, I was like, that wasn't scary. But I was scared, bro. And it's not about being scared. These films are films that really impacted us. So yeah, Jaws.
If I remember correctly, because I also did a little research on that years ago, I do remember them having a lot of development hell going on filming that movie.
Yeah, the shark broke at one point. They had a bunch of bad stuff happen. Like I guess because it was electronic or whatever, the shark had broke down and all kinds of other stuff. But it was worth it.
So the next movie I'm gonna mention as my all-time favorite film is Old Boy, and it's the original one, not the remake. It's a Korean film, South Korea, that was filmed in 2003. I don't want to get too deep in these movies, just in case you haven't seen them, because I don't feel like Old Boy was out there. It was somewhat critically acclaimed, but not as much as it deserves, I believe. They did remake it, there's that, but I don't think, it wasn't, the internet was loud about how good the movie was, but I don't hear many people that I know in person talking about that, who I talk about movies with all the time. Yeah, again, I don't want to get into the story. I just think you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, so the way I found out about Old Boy was from my Korean buddies. They were like, you gotta watch Old Boy, you gotta watch Old Boy. It took me, a couple of months, and then I finally, sat down and watched it, and I was like, oh man, this movie is crazy. Old Boy is definitely one of those films that will have an impact on you if you have not seen it. Make sure that you get the South Korean, the 2003 version, because it's bananas. A lot to say about it. But like Chris said, we don't want to ruin these for you. So, check out Old Boy.
So you might be able to find this movie on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's still on there or not, but when we looked it up, it said it was on Netflix, Amazon Prime TV, and Apple TV.
Yeah, my next film is Angel Heart. Angel Heart got a lot of flack from, it's starring Mickey Rourke and Lisa Bonet. And, there's a scene with Lisa Bonet that got her kicked off the Cosby Show or whatever. Bill Cosby didn't like it. Controversial scene, but you know what? It didn't need it. The story itself is so underrated. I don't want to say much about the film. The style of it is just dark. Shot in New Orleans. Wow. And I like films that have like great endings, ones that like really kind of stick with you. You guys have had this experience when you're just turning the TV and you turn on HBO or Showtime or whatever it was, and you just start watching a movie and it turns out to be like a great film. That's how I knew about this movie, but I didn't watch it with any expectations. So I was pleasantly surprised this was way back, when it first came out. I think it was late 80s or something. Great film. Like, wow.
A good amount of these films that we bring up have an element of surprise that causes us to have a reaction to where we find the movie great. With Angel Heart, I watched it because of him praising it over the years of my childhood. After I watched it, when it comes to a modern eye, it's a slow burn of a film, but it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. Your patience will be rewarded with this. When the movie was over, it just had me in my head for a little bit. There's some psychological elements in this that kind of get you thinking. I do feel like it takes a level of maturity to truly appreciate this one. It's worth watching if you're a movie head and never heard of this one.
Yeah, and also make sure if you do watch Angel Heart, that you pay attention. It's not one of those you can get up and leave the room for 5 minutes. You really got to watch the whole thing and really get up, lost into the film. And like Chris said, the end it's a payout. You can see Angel Heart on Paramount Plus and on Amazon Prime.
Another one that made it to my list of top 10 is The Matrix. Everyone knows what The Matrix is. You must be under a thick rock if you've never heard of The Matrix. I appreciate it because of what came with it afterwards. This movie had people questioning life itself. People use the reference, we're in The Matrix. The Matrix had a deep impact as an action movie. By the way, I'm putting the whole trilogy, even though part 3 wasn't that great, but I have to put this as a complete package here. Part 2 is probably my favorite one, Matrix Reloaded. It had a lot going to action. It was crazy. The freeway scene was one of a kind. I remember seeing that in the movie theaters.
Looks like you're going to be going back pretty quick here because that's one of my picks also, The Matrix. I mean, how can it not? This is, like I said, are we living in a simulation? Even just watching the film for the first time, if you can remember doing that, when Mr. Smith was at the end of the hall and they were shooting at him, the agents, and he finally got his power after he got shot, he was like, no. Dude, if you didn't feel that, and then he just started whoop, 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 whoop. Then he kicked him. Bah! Dude, that was dope. The Matrix is awesome. And I'll just say I'm glad Will Smith didn't take the role. I'm glad he turned it down. Not to pick on him, but bro, it would have not have been the same movie. It needed that stoic taste, like that Keanu brought to it. Will Smith would have. I don't think his facial. I'm not saying I would have did any better. I'm just saying that I'm glad he turned it down.
I feel like he could have potentially overacted on that role.
To be fair, it's very easy to overact that part, especially think about it. There was nothing like The Matrix before The Matrix. Mm-hmm. The way that Keanu played it, I've never seen, even to this day, Will Smith not be, put himself into a situation able to just be stoic. Like Keanu Reeves, like I said, he was perfect. He took us on the ride with him. He didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was going on. And we found out as he was finding out. And I think he was just perfect for the role. I love part 2 also. I have to agree with you. But yeah, Matrix is definitely one of my top 10 movies of all time.
My first horror movie I'm going to mention is The Descent. This movie was filmed in the United Kingdom, I believe. It's just about a group of girls trying to have a good time, helping out one of them through some trauma that happened in the film. And so one thing leads to another. They go into cave. I don't know if there's a particular name, going caving or something.
Yeah.
So they go down there, and it's just from there on out, survival to the fittest. These girls become some warriors for reasons I won't say, but it's just circumstances turn for the worst. And I've watched this film several times ever since the first time I saw it. I saw it in theaters actually because I was pretty hyped for it. And then I loved it so much, I found it DVD on eBay, and I bought a UK copy before it even shipped to America. And I was showing my whole family. I bought surround sound because of this movie. I had a little surround sound system in my small room because everything inside that cave was just like sound sensitive, and you didn't know where things was happening, and the little clicks and stuff of things I won't mention. If you haven't seen this movie, you need to watch it.
Man, definitely one of my honorable mentions, The Descent. I mean, talk about girl power. I mean, dude, this is one of those films that every time it's on, part 1 and part 2, I watch it. I could be scrolling, looking for something, and as soon as I see The Descent, I start watching. It's a well done story. The girls are just great actresses. It was just a good film. It's just a good story. It's definitely one of my honorable mentions. You know, you gotta watch The Descent. If you haven't seen The Descent and you like horror films, I mean, this is a must see.
So you can buy it off of Apple TV, or if you happen to have a Hulu subscription, you should be able to find it there as well. At least part 1. I'm not sure about part 2.
My next film is Seven with Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. I mean, if you haven't seen this film, I mean, there's so much I want to reference. Kevin Spacey also. You got to see this movie. I mean, I'd be shocked. It's hard to believe that everyone hasn't seen this film or at least knows about it. You know, like it's one of those that will definitely stick with you well after watching it. There's no way. I mean, you'd have to be. I mean, even if you're desensitized, this film will definitely it'll stick with you. It's a powerful film. The way it's shot, it's almost like a Gotham City. Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman play detectives, and man, boy, do they have a case to figure out. I don't want to say too much about this film. If you like thrillers, borderline horror, I'd be shocked that if most of you listening to this review haven't seen this film.
Yeah, Seven is I've seen it recently. I showed it to someone, and they left pretty pissed off, and for good reason. It's very understandable, but you can't deny that it's an instant classic after finishing this film. There's not much else to say about it other than if you know, you know. If you don't, go watch it, check it out.
Yeah.
If you it's not a horror, but it's dark. It's borderline. It's dark. There's some disturbing imagery in this, so that's the warning. But it's worth the trip if you're into a thriller, a good thriller movie. You can find Seven on either Sling, Amazon Prime TV, or if you have an Apple TV, you should be able to just pull it up. So my next movie is called The Prestige. It's low key a movie about Batman versus Wolverine. In reality, it's just the actors who play the roles. Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman, they are competing in magic. I enjoyed this movie because of Christian Bale's performance in particular, because he's one of my favorite actors. Hugh Jackman has a standout performance in this as well. It's not a thriller, but it's a pretty serious movie. You see these guys, like, how far will you go to get the upper hand? There's some savagery in this. It's like my head is going through spoiler territory, so I'm trying not to like give y'all too much, just in case you haven't seen it. Because if you haven't seen it, you need to. It's in my top 10, so you have to watch it now.
Yeah.
It's about magic. When I first learned that, I wasn't interested. I didn't expect much, but the movie did a good job at reeling me in. It has slow moments, but it's for a good reason. There's development happening that brings you to a destination that's like, whoa. Overall, completing this movie had an impact on me that is rare amongst casual movies that I just happen to find randomly.
Yeah, and that's how I found it. I just randomly, like, there was nothing to watch. Oh, I like Christian Bale, I like Hugh Jackman. I'm gonna watch this, and man, like, I was blown away. by the film, the acting, just the whole. It's one of those that you know, it's just like a sleeper. You know, it's a sleeper. It's one of those where you watch and you're just like, at the end of it, you're like, wow, you know, how come this didn't do, you know, like how come people aren't talking about this film more? You know, when it came out, that's what, you know, when I saw it, it had just got onto video. I had nothing to watch. I watched it and I was like, man, this is a good movie. It's just a good movie. It's one of those that you start watching and you're not, even if you're tired, you're gonna finish the movie. Like you said, there's some parts where they're developing the characters, but with those two great actors, you know, it's a great watch, and I'm glad he picked it.
I think I'm gonna watch it tonight, actually.
I might watch it tonight too. No, seriously, I might
Yeah.
watch it tonight too.
You can find The Prestige on Amazon TV and Apple TV.
So the next film on my list is the oldest film out of all my picks. It's The Car, 1977. I'm sure it's where what's the name? Stephen King got the idea for Christine. Well, The Car is better. Josh Brolin, you know, who played Thanos and from No Country for Old Men or whatever, like his dad is in it, James Brolin. The Car is just amazing. I saw it when I was a kid. Like I said, it came out in 1977. I don't know if I was 8 years old when it came, like, or 7 years old, but I went to a drive-through movie theater to see this, and man, it's one of those films that stuck with me. It stuck with me. It was hard to find because, you know, there was no internet, you know, back in like 1999. I was wanting to see this movie, you know, I was older. I was like, man, how can I find this movie? I think my brother found it for me. Did you give me the DVD?
I might have, because I remember having the DVD, but I don't know what I did with it.
I took it from you. I probably jacked
just
it.
gave it to
No,
you.
I think I thought I bought one too, but I had to. Now you know, DVDs are kind of out of style, but I had to get it on DVD. But it's one of those movies, man, where I mean, it's a 1977 film, but I don't even know what to say about it. It's definitely a film that stuck with me. The music, just the whole feel of the movie. There was nothing like it. I like those movies where, like, you know, they're in like this desert town. I don't know if they're in New Mexico or Arizona or whatever, but you know, you got to see it if you can stand. And now remember, these movies back in the 70s, they took longer to develop the story, but this one, not so much. Not so much. It wasn't a slow movie. It's a good movie.
I'm not sure if I sat through this one. I know I gave it a watch 20 years ago with that DVD copy we had. I don't know
Yeah.
if I bought it for you or if I bought it for myself to watch it. I can't remember.
I bought it again. If you did, you might have.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
but
been too long.
Yeah.
But I don't quite remember the movie. I remember, I'm not sure if I finished it or what happened if I had something to do, somewhere to go. So I can't put much feedback on it. But you can stream this on Amazon Prime and you can find it on Apple TV as well.
it's almost like Jaws, but on the street.
My next movie is called Death Sentence. Star actor is Kevin Bacon. It's a revenge film. There's not really anything that's gonna spoiler, or there's no like twist or anything. It's just cutthroat in your face revenge. And I like this movie so much simply because of how it made me feel. I don't know if I was in a vulnerable state in my life at the time I watched it, but I'm not a father. But if I was and went through what Kevin Bacon's character went through, yeah, I totally understand where he was coming from. I was rooting for this guy to an extent. You know, I couldn't stand the people that he was hunting down. Something about these guys weren't like the best actors, but they did enough to disgust me. I was just like, maybe it was their bad acting that made me want them to die more. I don't know what it was, but I was just into the movie. I just couldn't wait until he murked
got
these
it.
guys one by one. Yeah, whether he did or not, I will leave that out there. But it was a really good movie.
Yeah, Death Sentence made me want to make a revenge film. You know, you know, because it's one of those things where innocent people, you know, in your family, like family members, like what would you do if someone messed with like if you're not old enough to have kids, your mom or your dad, if someone that, you know, killed them and, you know, whatever, like, what would you do? You know, what wouldn't you do? So yeah, this revenge films always invoke like a passionate, burning desire to see this person get their revenge back, you know, on whoever the antagonists are. So yeah, I mean, and those are good movies, movies that can get you emotionally charged, whether good or bad or whatever. So yeah, I like Death Sentence. I like Kevin Bacon. So, you know, yeah, it was a good film, really good film. Sleeper, indeed, sleeper,
Yeah.
indeed. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you've seen it, but a lot of you young film watchers out there, that would be a film that you would like.
It's raw. There's something about the rawness of it that
Yeah.
I appreciate, and the fact that this guy, who wants to get revenge, he's not no secret agent like homeboy from Taken.
Right.
What do you say,
Liam
motherfucker? What do you
Nielsen,
say?
you're gonna regret. I don't
Yeah,
know.
something along those. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
remember the
like
famous line,
yeah,
but
he's like
he knew what he was gonna do,
right,
or he already knew. He was like, "All right, that I'm not. I'm like,
like
all right, you
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 know,
got this."
like Denzel and Equalizer. Like he like in part three, he was like Michael Myers. Like you can't,
I
remember?
haven't seen any of those.
You haven't
I'm not.
seen?
I'm not interested. Those are revenge films. So
Kinda,
so.
yeah, but Denzel, like he's like you said, he wasn't your average everyday father. He
He was
was,
like a specialist
oh yeah,
in
dude,
killing
yeah.
people. So
Denzel was dope. Like you couldn't, you're dead. You're
yeah,
pretty much dead. You're dead. Like Liam Nielsen, same thing. You're gone.
yeah.
It's a wrap.
So with Kevin Bacon, it was more grounded.
Yeah,
It's just like a regular old dude,
yeah,
and he's either gonna do what he does or not,
or
just
get
or
killed.
just deal with it as a casual person. And yeah, like going through the process, the choices he makes. Luck is on his side. I would just put it at that.
Yeah.
But you were rooting for this guy. Well, I was, and I think that y'all should check it out for sure. So from the looks of it, you can find it on Amazon Prime, maybe, and definitely on Apple TV.
Speaking of revenge films, my next pick is Mel Gibson's Apocalypto. This is like a revenge film, but the guy was put in a situation where he had to just to survive. Apocalypto is like it's a great film. Man, I don't even want to tell you guys anything about it. I want you to watch it. There's some subtitles. I know some people can't read, so they don't like watching subtitles. No, I'm kidding. But Apocalypto, I get offended when people don't want to watch like good movies like Apocalypto because they got to read. If you haven't seen it, you'll like it. There's no way you won't like Apocalypto. It's a really good movie, really good story. The trailer's not going to do nothing for you. I'm going to tell you right now. There's no way you're going to you're going to get what you need out of this film. It's very intense. Well, it is a little crazy, but not too bad. But it definitely gets you thinking a lot. I don't know why Mel Gibson wanted to do the film, but I'm so glad he did it. It's a great film. Go see Apocalypto.
Apocalypto, I just seen that movie earlier this year. It puts things in perspective, this film. It's a little violent, so keep that in mind. But man, things that are out there nowadays, you can handle this. If you've seen Mel Gibson movies, it's up to par. You probably seen Passion of the Christ. Apocalypto is another very well done movie from Mel Gibson. He makes great films.
Yeah. Mel Gibson's one of my favorite directors. No, he is my favorite director, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I've never let you guys know who my favorite director was, but it's Mel Gibson. He's really good. Apocalypto's on Amazon Prime, but you can watch it on Tubi for free.
So the next film I'm gonna add to my top 10 all-time favorite movie is a Memento. It's something very unique. It's unlike anything I've seen, really. It is a slower film, but be patient. I assure you, you will not be disappointed at the end result of Memento.
Man, oh man, I'm telling you guys, no lie. My 10th film, Memento and Predator, was right here at a number 11 tied. Like, Memento was almost in my top 10. I mean, it actually should be in my top 10. Memento is an amazing film. There's so many surprises, and you got to pay attention because you will get lost. But it's not a film that will easily lose you because they come back and they tie it all up, and you're like, wow, it's a great film. I mean, I think it's Christopher Nolan. I think it's his, Guy Pearce acted in it. Both of them just became stars after this. Definitely check it out. Like, if you haven't seen Memento, no matter what your age, sit down, pay attention to this film. It's like Angel Heart. You don't want to miss anything because I'm telling you, you miss 5-10 minutes of this film, you're going to be lost when everything comes to a head. You know what I mean? When everything starts to unfold.
You can find Memento on Peacock, Amazon Prime, and Apple TV.
How can I do a top 10 without having John Carpenter's The Thing in it? I can't. I can't. Probably my favorite horror movie of all time. You can still watch it and catch things that are going on. Like you're trying to figure things out as you're watching it. If you haven't seen it, it's a lot. It's just 10 times better than any horror movie in the last 10 years. I don't even want to say anything about The Thing. The prequel wasn't horrible either. I mean, of course, the only thing I didn't like about the prequel was a bunch of CGI. I mean, they mixed CGI with practical, but you know, it's not even about it being a horror film. It's just about it being a great film with Kurt Russell. And I like films where like actors are isolated in a situation and they have to survive, or, you know, I like films where there's not like a whole bunch of people, but they're up in the mountains or they're in the snow, or, you know, and it's a situation that they have to overcome. So The Thing is like, I mean, one of the best films. It's definitely in my top 10. So yeah.
You talk about that isolation. It almost sounds like you're also talking about 30 Days of Night.
I love 30 Days a Night, man. I love it.
I was thinking about putting that on my list too, because
Dude,
I love that movie as
Josh
well.
Harriet, good to see him back in that new M. Night film, but 30 Days a Night is a great film too, man. It's like they're up in Alaska. I mean, that's a good film. That's not in our top 10.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention. It's a great film. It's crazy. You know, you want to see these people survive. Also, Evil Dead 2 is an honorable mention where Ash, the character, is stuck in a cabin and he's just trying to survive through the night. You know, he's trying to get to he's trying to escape this cabin and get out of there. So I like movies like that.
Yeah.
Cabin Fever. Like I could just keep going.
Ooh, forgot about
Dude,
that.
yeah, don't sleep. Don't
Pancakes.
Man, movies jacked up. But
Oh yeah.
yeah. So The Thing. I had to narrow it down. You know, yeah. I'll just leave it at that.
It was really hard coming up with this list.
Yeah.
The Thing is undeniably one of the best horror films ever. It just tops science fiction, horror, mystery, murder mystery.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's people on YouTube to this day still talking about mysteries, trying to figure out things. I don't want to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, because there's things that they're talking about spoilers. By now, they're figuring out like, okay, you're watching The Thing on YouTube mysteries. They're assuming you've seen the movie already. So I don't want to talk about what those YouTubers were talking about, but they're still to this day talking about this movie.
Yeah.
I have a feeling people, the more modern day, younger audience is going to miss
Well,
out.
that's sad, man, because if you like, you know, Insidious or whatever, and you don't like this film, something's wrong with you. You know what I mean? Like, I get that you have TikTok brains. You guys are goldfish now. I get it, but it's not that slow. And it's one of those movies that if you're not paying attention, you're gonna be like, well, how did that happen to that person? Or you got to pay attention. It's one of those films where you just got to watch, and it's not that slow. But the way those films are shot in the past, it was more character development. Yeah. Even like if you watch Halloween 1, it's not like Michael Myers running around just chip, 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 you know, killing people. It's like the fear builds up. Yeah. It's like there's a pressure that's building up.
And a presence.
Yeah. So that's the way films used to be made, and that's an art, you know. So everything's cheap now. CGI and quick try to scare people and weak stories, and then they just try to capitalize off of that and make more money. But, you know, back in the day, John Carpenter, you know, I had to have one of his films in there. And there's I could have picked They Live. I could have picked Prince of Darkness, which when I saw it, I didn't like it. But then it just kind of stuck with me and bothered me. John Carpenter's an amazing filmmaker. Definitely a huge fan of his. And The Thing is just like, wow. Like I said, if you guys haven't seen it and you're young, this is definitely something that, you know, if you're into the horror films or whatever, you won't be disappointed with this one.
Keep in mind there was another one made, and I believe that is called The Thing as well. I'm not sure what year it was filmed, but we're talking about the OG Thing, the very first one.
You can watch The Thing on Amazon Prime, Peacock, and Apple TV.
Yeah, I think we got 3 or 4 more to go. We're going down the list.
Yeah.
So The Substance. The Substance came out this year and fit its way into my top 10 list of all-time greatest movies. I've seen it twice already. I still just am blown away.
You did? When did you go see it again?
I showed Leah.
No, you took her to see it, but she didn't
She was
like it.
pissed. She said it was traumatizing, and she's
Did you make her watch the whole thing?
well, at around the end, she started walking into the bathroom. She started cleaning shit.
What was it?
Said-
Was it?
What did she say? She said it was uncomfortable and traumatizing. That's what she said.
Around which part was it? The one? Was it when? No,
That's
yeah.
when she got up. She just got up. She didn't say nothing.
Why do you do that to her? That is
She wanted to watch it.
She wanted to watch
Yeah.
it? What? Because you told her it was good?
I guess because we're just hyping it.
Oh, that's laughs, man. Dude, didn't she see her review? She didn't see her review?
I don't know if she watched
Man, well, that's what she gets. So, well, that's what she caught an L. That's funny. I'm sorry, man. Oh, man. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, if you don't know how we feel about this movie, I've said enough in our review of The Substance. Go check out that video, please.
Yeah, watch our review on The Substance. It's definitely the best made film that I've seen this year. I love the style. I love everything about the film. I love the surprises. I love the fact that you think you know where it's going, but you don't. The director, she's very talented, very talented director, and the story and the actors and just everything about it was good. So I'm glad that a movie from this year actually made Chris's list. And you notice we don't have any Marvel movies on our list, and we love Marvel movies.
I thought about it.
Yeah, I couldn't. There was, I mean, Infinity War was good, you know. I mean, Endgame. There's movies, you know. There's so many movies that you guys are thinking about that we're like, yeah, you know, it almost. I mean, we could sit here and name movies all night. So that's why we had to pick ones that kind of had some kind of impact on us. And usually it's because we had like no expectations when we saw it. Like literally a lot of these movies that I'm naming, I was just kind of turning the TV, didn't go in the theater, and I watched it and I was like, whoa, like, you know, pleasantly surprised. So yeah, The Substance was great.
The Substance is still currently in theaters. I just checked Apple TV earlier today because I'm waiting to pay for it to just own it. It's still up for pre-order for $20.
Yeah.
So I'm still waiting for that to come out.
So, all right, my next film, Tombstone, Western. Kurt Russell, once again, he makes two of my films on my list. Val Kilmer, Doc Holliday, Michael Biehn from Aliens and Terminator. Great film. I mean, it's a tie for the best Western. Now, I love all the spaghetti Westerns, but, you know, Tombstone just embodied everything. And it's one of those films where it made my list because when it comes on, I can't not watch it, along with Predator. But Tombstone, Tombstone it beat Predator. It was either Tombstone or Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven. I love that film. Gene Hackman killed it, but Tombstone just had it all. It's a great movie. It's got quotables. You know, even if you don't like Westerns, it's just a great film.
I can't put any input on this one because I'm not sure. I don't think I've seen it. I'm not a Western person by any means. I've watched some here and there. More of the modern ones, the old school ones, I don't recall or watch any of those. It's more of a personal taste of mine. So Tombstone, I might have to go check that out.
Yeah.
We made this list. I made my top 10. He made his top 10 at home. We didn't make this together. We barely do anything but watch the movie that we're going to review and come straight here.
We're too busy.
Yeah. We got so much. We had a quick phone call last night. We decided to do this. I made my list here. He made his list there. But it was kind of cool to see that some of our movies matched. Of all the hundreds of thousands of movies out there, we do have similar tastes. And I guess you can see the difference in the time of birth with what impacted him versus what impacted me. So with Tombstone, I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Yeah. I know you're not into Westerns, but man, you got to see it.
Okay.
Trust me, when you get a chance. You can watch Tombstone on Hulu, Disney Plus, surprisingly, and Apple TV.
So you were asking if there's a movie on my list you haven't seen.
Yeah.
You seen Godzilla Minus One, right?
Oh man, I went to the theater. Didn't we
Oh
go
yeah, we
together?
went together. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that
right.
was a good movie.
Yeah.
So that's one of your next movie?
Godzilla Minus One
Yeah.
is one of my all-time top 10 favorite movies. I saw that twice in theaters.
Yeah.
Last time I saw a movie twice in theaters, which it probably should be in this list, but it's not, is The Mist.
Ooh.
I saw The Mist and I it
Man.
affected me so much. I came home and told my whole family we need to go see this movie.
Yeah.
Remember, mom was with us.
Yeah.
I had everyone
Yeah.
coming to this movie
Yeah,
because I
man.
wanted to see their faces when
The end.
something happened.
Yeah.
When something happened
Wow. Wow.
that affected me. That goes to show you. I love that film. Very well done acting. It's subtitled.
The Mist is subtitled?
Godzilla Minus One.
Oh, okay. Now
So-
you see, I'm still thinking about The Mist. I'm sorry.
So Godzilla Minus One is in subtitle. There might be English dub on Netflix. I saw
Yeah.
that it was available on Netflix
Yeah.
now. But I'm gonna tell you right now, that's not the way to experience it. If a movie, if a movie that's in subtitles can affect me the way it did, I feel like you should watch it the way I watched it. So just do yourself a favor, do a little reading. The way the filming was done, it seemed like it was intentional with while you're reading and then you look up at the screen. First time I felt this way. You're reading, but you're not feeling like you're actually missing out on something.
Yeah.
So you read something, you look back up, and then something happens. So that's something I noticed about that movie. I felt like I had the full experience, even though I had to look down and read. I'm not the fastest reader in the world, so I had to kind of focus in and dial in, with my prescription goggles. So, my point is, it took me a little time to, read it and do the work,
Back up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
do the work. Yeah, that's what it is.
and it's worth it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
I was super into it. The score, the musical score,
Oh
is great.
man, yeah.
In some parts, I didn't expect a Godzilla movie to ever give me shivers, but it did. This one, I mean,
Godzilla movies. I've been watching them since before Chris was born. I love Godzilla movies. Man, this was the best film, and I can't believe they made it for I think $14 million or something. And Godzilla looks crazy. It's the best looking Godzilla. It's the most accurate Godzilla. Where that one with Matthew Broderick was like the most trash when he was in New York.
2000, it was like 2000 Godzilla.
That was horrible, man. Let the Japanese make Godzilla, okay? America, leave it alone. You guys can't do it. Godzilla vs. King Kong, man, leave it alone. Godzilla Minus One is hands down the best film that Godzilla's ever been in.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. Like Chris said, the storytelling, like the way the story unfolds. You care about the characters, the development, like the character development wasn't slow. I mean, you were into it. You were into the characters. Like he said, even reading it, even knowing that Godzilla hadn't shown up for a while in the movie for like some of the beginning, and then when it just pops off, man. I mean, Godzilla Minus One, and you on Netflix, I think I did see that it's English. Yeah, if you're lazy, but like Chris said, we didn't miss a beat reading the subtitles. That's definitely the best Godzilla film for me that was ever made. So I'm glad it made its top 10.
I see a lot of people comparing it to Shin Godzilla. I haven't seen Shin Godzilla.
Okay.
He looks crazy in that one. It's not a traditional design.
Forget it then. Okay, so my next films are quite unconventional. This one's older. It's called Southern Comfort. It's an older film with Powers Booth. It's got some other older actors in it that you've probably seen in other things, but it's old. I don't even want to get into it. It's about these guys really that were in the swamps in Louisiana and they're training, and all they have are blanks, and something pops off. Now it's an older film, but let me tell you, man, this was one of those films when I was young, and back when there was only like 13 channels on TV. It was one of those films that I just started watching. I just got locked in on this film, and I never forgot it. And it just stuck with me, something about the film. Once again, another survival film. These guys only have blanks. They're out there in the swamps. No one's going to rescue them. I'm not going to tell you what the antagonist is or whatever, but It's a great film. It's just a good film about these guys trying to survive. They're all kind of like army training and they get stuck out there. You won't be disappointed if you're looking for like a hidden gem that you just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Pop some popcorn and check it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna have to do because I never even heard of this movie until tonight. No feedback on that one from me either. Check it out, and I'm gonna do the same.
You'll like it.
Yeah,
You like it. You will like it. Trust me. I can't wait for you to. I'm excited for you to watch
I'm
it.
actually, I have making a new list of to watch now.
Yeah.